Next, let's take a look at corporation tax. So once again, the corporation tax workflow is at 61%, and a lot of that will be because the work has been processed in the working papers and in the accounts production workflows that are flowing through to our corporation tax return. Once again, if I open up the workflow itself for corporation tax, you'll see that the layout is very similar, and the return workflow has been prepared in the order that we would expect you would want to go through it. As before, we have our traffic light system with red triangles flagging any work that needs to be done, or green circles telling us that those sections are complete. So let's start by looking at the return information. What we can see here is some of the basic data that's going to be going onto this tax return. We can see, again, some of that standard information which has been synced down from Companies House. Some of the things that we might want to do here is selecting options such as whether the client has had some R&D claims, and perhaps putting in details of the repayments if required. What we'll then do is look at the P&L and other comprehensive income area. This is where we can really show the value of Silverfin as a platform. As we've discussed, we've already mapped and standardized all of the charts of accounts. What that means is that those accounts can flow into the appropriate tax schedules. And then to take it a step further, Silverfin, based on our expert knowledge, is able to suggest a tax treatment for each of those accounts. If you feel differently about what some of these tax treatments should be, you can choose from all of the options available. And if you wanted to remember your preferences, we can always roll that information forward when the next period comes along. Now, if we look at the staff training area, this might be a particular account which requires some additional analysis. It may be that there's multiple treatments required there. Once I've selected accounts, and that's going to link back directly to the working paper for that account. So here I will be able to break down what amounts I want to have different treatments, and then I can select the appropriate treatment for each of those individual values. If we wanted to attach some supporting documents here, again, we would be able to do that. And although I'm doing this work as part of the tax return workflow, this could also have been done at the working paper stage or at the accounts production stage, and that information would still be flowing through to the tax return itself. Once we've made those adjustments, we can come in and we can look at the P&L additional analysis to see how that information is going to appear on our return. We can also see that based on the work that we've done, the information we have is currently reconciling to the underlying data. Now, I'm not going to go into too much more detail with the tax return, but some of the key shortcuts that I would want to highlight are things like our tax calculation. So from anywhere within the tax workflow, I can link to my tax calculation to see, based on the work that I've done, what that calculation is currently sitting at. And of course, the more work you do, that figure will update. The other shortcut that we have is the ability to preview the CT600 at any time. So if you wanted to look at the information that's going to flow through to the CT600, we can do that. But keep in mind, this is just a preview. When we go to export the document, it will appear in its normal form. Now, assuming that we're happy with that tax work and we're at a point of completion, once again, we could submit this job for review. And once it's been reviewed, we would be at a stage where we are potentially looking to export either the CT600 or the corporation tax return itself. As we export the corporation tax return, Silverfin's going to do all of the IXBRL tagging for you. And as we've seen before with accounts production, it's going to show us anything that perhaps isn't complete. But once we're done, we have the option to submit to the appropriate authority from directly within the platform.